What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi, and today we are talking about basically the new gachas incoming. Now, I will first preface this by saying, no, they are not incoming tonight per usual. They're actually incoming tomorrow. So don't get too crazy with this. We will still be live streaming tonight. We'll be talking about this a lot tonight. If you have questions or anything like that, the live stream should begin sometime between 9 and 10 p.m. Unfortunately, because of the way my life is working lately, it's hard to tell. But join us for the live stream. I will tweet it out. I will blast it in the Discord. Discord link is in the description below. Or you could always subscribe, hit the notification bell to stay up to date with that. But we will be talking about that tonight on live stream a whole lot. In fact, we streamed a whole other game last night, and we still talked about this a whole lot. So there's going to be a lot of questions and a lot of things to discuss. But before I get into the banners, let's talk about the new Ryu unit. Okay? Now, first things first, this Ryu is completely free to play. That is confirmed. She will drop from the latest event. I don't know if we'll get all of her bonds on this first one, or if we'll have to wait a couple events to get it. Probably, if I had to guess, we'll probably get all of her bonds, though you may have to buy a few from the shop. We'll see, because I also am not sure how that 11 draw ticket's going to work. Well, a lot of this is like big question marks, but we did get one slight answer. We'll get to that here in a second. But first, let's talk about what she does. Notice that magic stat and that HP. That is off the damn charts for a free-to-play. She beats Clown Argo by a country flippin' mile. And remember, this is before any CP, so she's going to get even better than this. How is that possible? It's a thing, guys. This is what your free-to-plays will probably look like in the 2020-2021 rotations. So, power creep, yes, whatever. She's a really good unit. Let's talk about her skills. Now, I know you guys like to see the skill tree, but unfortunately it is not something that we're privy to at this point in time. I don't have the slides, but I will tell you guys what to expect. Skill 1 is a foes, plural, low wind magic attack, self magic damage, wind damage, all plus 40% for 5 turns. Okay. Skill 2 is a foes, plural once again, high wind magic attack with ultra uncounter rate, strength, magic resistance, and wind resistance minus 20% for 3 turns. And being minus 20% isn't bad. That would have been completely normal for a summonable unit a year ago. So that kind of shows you where the power creep is. Whether you like it or not, power creep is real in a game like this. It's how they got to keep things up to date. But here's the fun one. Skill 3. Foe, singular, high wind magic attack with ultra penetration. For 2 actions after this one, you get an additional effect of low wind magic attack. Now, how does this work? Well, we got a little bit of information on this apparently on the live stream. So this effect cannot be removed. So while it works like an ailment, it cannot be removed like an ailment. You will always get that extra low wind magic attack, or that extra attack depending upon who it is, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. It does not increase the SA gauge, so it doesn't act like a normal attack. It kind of affects like an ailment. Will not activate after using an SA. So in other words, if you SA, basically kind of skips a turn, best we know. Cannot be countered. It is a completely uncounterable event. It, once again, acts like an ailment, but it is not an ailment. It cannot be removed. It's just going to apply. Applied to attacks used after the initial attack. So, in other words, when you do your first attack, it's not going to apply to that one. It's going to apply to every attack after that. I'm not sure if it's going to count to counters. We'll have to see, but we'll see. I'm not sure what the last thing means. I'm not even going to read it. It's irrelevant. We're going to, because it's kind of poorly translated from the Japanese, and Japanese doesn't translate to English very well if you've ever tried to do that. But it is basically like 2 extra low wind magic attacks that are going to happen on the following turns. Now, whether, like I said, it happens on the counters or whether it happens on the main attacks, we don't know. We know it will not follow SAs. So that's a thing that basically would happen on the subsequent turns. But this is your new meta, guys. I called it last year with Argo and Krazo when they brought in that big thing where they basically replicate buffs and debuffs. I called it then. That's the new meta. This is going to be that big new thing that's game-changing in the side of Danmachi. This is going to be your new Season 3 meta going forward. So get used to this. You're going to see a lot of units that do this. We're going to talk about 2 more today, so stay tuned. Notable passives for Ryu are counters are Wind Element, Earth Resist plus 25%, HP and MP are 4% regen every turn, Magic Agility and Dexter plus 25%, and she is a Worm Killer. Those are stats. Everything you see here are stats. That was a summonable unit this time last year. That's how busted she is as far as free-to-play goes. She's going to blow the doors off of free-to-play. If the old free-to-play units don't get some kind of a buff at some point, they're going to fall off of the map entirely. Her SA is interesting too. Foes, plural, Ultra Wind magic attack with temporary magic boost. Allies, magic and wind damage plus 40%. Now, that's not groundbreaking by a long shot. We have units that do way more than that in this day and age. For free-to-play, that's kind of busted. There are some support units that will hit really, really, really hard once they get that boost. So, if you are solely free-to-play, keep an eye on her. Though, if I'm honest, this game is so good with Iris distribution. You don't really, probably you'll use her during the event, and then after the event, she'll be brought out for special occasions. I don't foresee you using her too much within 6 months from now. You'll probably summon plenty of units that just can make her entirely irrelevant. But, that's just, gacha games in general. Power creep is a thing. It is real. So, Ryu is completely free to play. You're going to get bonds of her completely free. You don't need to worry about it. She's not summonable. Well, who is summonable then? Well, that is starting with this banner and continuing on to the other banner that we saw yesterday. But if I am honest, if you're new-ish to the game, not really an advanced player, you're just trying to basically, get good scores in Record Buster, get King 1 in War Game, and you're just there to play the game. You're not there to wail or go crazy. Max this banner out. Okay? I've been telling you guys for a while now to save your free-to-play Iris. It'll be 4,000 Iris, and the gacha rates are doubled. That means 4% for 4 stars, 2% for 4-star adventurers, 2% for assists. Doesn't sound great, but believe me, by the end of 11 turns, it's pretty damn good. So let's jump in here and talk about these units and why I think this is the banner you want to max out. And bear in mind, before I get into this, you're going to have 10 turns. The 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th are all guaranteed 4 stars. Doesn't mean that's the only place you're going to pull 4 stars. That means after the 10th, you're no longer guaranteed a 4-star. Stop. Do not do that 11th summon. Everything past 10 is a sucker's game. We're going to get heroic trials for these units. That's already confirmed. We're going to get lots of star bonds, or probably enough gnome tickets to acquire a few star bonds. So, save all of that. Don't go nuts. I know some people are going to get horribly screwed, but you are going to have an opportunity later on down the road to then max them or break them further later on. Do your 10 turns, walk away. I will tell you this again, and I will say this as loud as I need to say it. Stop, if you're free to play, stop hitting banners past the 10th turn. It is not worth. It is absolutely not worth. If you really want to go nuts, there are paid banners where you'll be able to get these units pretty much guaranteed. In fact, it is guaranteed, which is the greatest thing in gachas ever. We're going to get gacha sale. We're going to get ticket sales, Iris sales, words. We're going to get Iris sales, and one of those sales is going to be 400 Iris for $20. It's a pretty substantial value, all things considered. You can hit one of the banners for one of these units with an 11 draw for $20. It's a good amount of money. It's a real decent amount of money once you start equating that into, what you get for games. But if you're really that desperate to max limit break them, go all 10 rounds. Whoever you're lacking, go hit their banner for $20, and then just consider it revenue towards the game. Or if you do the daily lunchbox, that will give you 100 paid Iris at the beginning of every month. then maybe if you save that for a couple of months, then you'll be able to do stuff like that. Just saying. Just saying. Now, back to being completely free to play. 4,000 Iris to hit this all day long. Now, if you guys were saving, you should have a ton of Iris right now. I've been saving since May the 1st. I've done 1,200 Iris worth of summons with my free to play Iris since that time. Now, to be fair, I do the daily lunchbox, so 400 of that Iris is, by this point in time, already accounted for. So that isn't free to play Iris, but I've spent that. So if we say I've got well over 10,000 Iris right now in my box, that would have been 10,800 Iris. And I've still got lots of farming I can do. If I can do that, you could do that. That is mostly doing CP items. That is mostly doing, you know what? I didn't even do the dispatch quests. Doing dispatch quests every single day does add up quickly. Doing all my dailies, getting my 10 Iris a day for dailies, Record Buster, War Game, all that stuff. And yes, I do rank high in Record Buster, but most of the units that I'm using for Record Buster are freely obtained in this fashion. Remember, I only started expanding the blowhole maybe 3 months ago, so most of my units are freely acquired units. Just saying. Just saying. So what I'm telling you basically is you want to go all 4,000 Iris on this banner. If you haven't been playing this game very long, and if you've saved up a ton of Iris, remember, we're going to get another 7,000 Iris guaranteed, up to 12,000 Iris. Hit this banner, and you'll have plenty more Iris to farm and all that. I'm going to make a whole Iris video this weekend talking about all of this and how you want to manage your Iris. But believe me, if you've been playing this game and you're fairly new at the game, Alice is an amazing, amazing war game unit. Riveria ushers in a new meta for Record Buster units, and we'll get to her in a minute. And Finn is just awesome all around in general. Let's talk about them, okay? First one's first is Alice. Alice has a triple S stat. Now, that is fully modded, fully ascended. But if I'm honest, if you blow all 4,000 Iris on this banner and you don't max ascend her, you'll be pretty damn close. You might only need 1 or 2 bonds. On average, there are people that are going to get screwed, and my apologies. It is a thing. But overall, it is worth the investment to try to max limit break these units. If you don't max limit break them, we will talk about that in a whole other video. You will still have options. Will still have options. Hit the notification bell. Subscribe. I'll bring that Iris video this weekend. We'll talk about it very specifically. But stats are just off the chain. Just amazing. Okay? Special arts. Well, okay, we'll talk about skill 1 first. Skill 1. Foes, plural, fast, high fire, physical attack with ultra on counter rate. Self, strength and fire damage plus 60%. I don't think strength was included yesterday, but it is strength and fire damage plus 60%, and foes fire resistance minus 40%. We've talked about why that's a great thing. That's absolutely awesome. Skill 2, foes, plural. Once again, notice those are AoE attacks. Those are going to be perfect for a war game. Super fire physical attack with temporary strength boost and ultra critical rate. Allies critical rate and penetration rate plus 30% for 3 turns. If you don't have Otarl, you do now. Mark my words. She might take 2 turns to do what Otarl does in 1, but she is a beast. She's going to be disgusting in war games. Skill 3 is a foe singular high fire physical attack with ultra penetration rate and a great strength boost. So she'll still be useful in Record Buster, just not the best. She's designed for war game. Okay. Notable passives. Wind resistance plus 35%. Counters are fire elements. Strength, agility, and dex plus 30%. Counter damage plus 50%. Critical damage plus 15%. And she's a worm killer. Worm killer is going to be something interesting you see across the board on these units. Pay attention to that, because that does mean whatever boss we're getting at the end of all this, and there's usually a rush that happens with all this, will be a worm. Summon, guys. Summon, 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 summon on this banner. Do yourself a favor. So, my apologies, headphone users, but I felt that was necessary. Her essay is a foes, plural, ultra fire physical attack with temporary great strength boost. Once again, we see that great boost. And ultra critical rate. Strength, magic, and fire damage plus 60% for 3 turns. I'll say that again. strength, magic, and fire 60% for 3 turns. She will bring new life back into the fire team, and she is going to take what arguably Crozo, more than anything else, are going to be lacking after this event and bring them back into prominence. Her SA will make them what they need to be for the incoming meta in late 2020, early 2021. She is going to breathe new life into the fire team, and she is going to be amazing. Start thinking about your fire team. Just calling it now. The fact that she does strength and magic for 60% isn't unprecedented. You know, Haruhime does 100% and Priestess does 80%. But the fact she does fire damage plus 60% is pretty off the chain. Now remember, the swimsuit Haruhime does magic and light damage. I think it's magic and light only. I know she doesn't do strength. It might just be light attack damage, 80%, but irrelevant. Basically, this takes the best of those skills, nerfs them a little bit, but the fact that all 3 are 60%, you will have some units that have a better strength stat. You have some units that have a better fire stat. So it's not going to work across the board. There are going to be some limitations. You want to be really cautious about that. But if you have some units like Argo and Crozo, they're going to really, 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 really benefit from this. Really benefit. She is awesome, and you want her 100%. Let's talk about the Record Buster unit. Riveria. Riveria's interesting. If you remember, well, we'll get to it here in a second. Check out these stats. Triple S magic stat. She is absolutely awesome. I can't say that enough. Lots and lots and lots of MP. And if you remember, we talked for a while about units that will probably, replace Haruhime. And I think you're starting to see where they've just accepted Haruhime is the new meta. Skill 1. Pay close attention to this. Skill 1. Self. Fast. SA gauge charge 100% and water damage 100%. For 4 turns, for the next 3 actions, an additional effect of foe singular low water magic attack. That is one thing that's worth noting. All these, I believe, are foe singular on the additional attack, but don't be surprised if within the next 3 or 4 months, we start seeing, maybe 6 months, maybe at the earliest Halloween, maybe December-ish time, we might start seeing some AoEs doing this, but for now, it's only single targets. Extra damage. But, water damage plus 100%. Now, she doesn't give herself a magic boost. But remember, Haruhime does 100% magic. You now have 100% magic, 100% water damage, and it's going to get even sweeter from there. Plus, you have 2 extra turns where we're doing, mind you, a low modifier, but still, the extra damage every other turn. This, if you want crazy scores in Record Buster, follow my lead here. Max limit break her. I'm going to be going ham on this. I will, 100%. If I don't get her with my first 4,000 Iris, I will be wailing for her. 100%. You must MLB these 2 units. If you do not, you are not paying attention. Okay? Skill 2. It was only skill 1. Skill 2, foe singular, because these are going to be, she's a Record Buster unit, she's foe singular. Slow high water magic attack with ultra critical rate, temporary magic boost, self crit and penetration rate plus 50% for 1 turn. Skill 3, high water magic attack with ultra unguard rate, self magic and dex plus 50%. There's her magic buff. So do skill 3, then skill 2, and then skill 1. Or just do skill 3 and then skip to skill 1 and wreck everything. Though I will be honest, that critical and penetration rate will help out. So you do a 3-2-1 stack. She's going to hit like a truck. Notable passives. Fire resistance 35%. Counters are wind element. Magic agility and dex 25%. Critical damage 25%. Counter damage 50%. And she's a worm killer. Remember, we're going to see a lot of that. Whew. That's pretty badass, isn't it? Special arts. Sit down for this one. Foe singular, alter water magic attack. For every water damage buff on self, skill damage plus 70%, removes all strength and magic buffs on foe except assist skills. I will say that again, because that is ridiculous. She will add 70% skill damage on top of what you already have. So if you've activated Haruhime, you have 100% magic on her. You have 100% water damage on her. You have the 50% critical, 50% penetration rate. And then she comes in on top of that and adds an extra 70%. She is going to be a 2 mil attack. No questions asked. She is going to be awesome. Absolutely awesome. If you do not summon for this unit, you are missing out. Mark my words. And this is only part 1. We could even get sweeter in part 2 and part 3, and that's where I'm going to get with the second half of this. I'm paying a lot of attention to these 3 units, because these 3 units are absolutely busted. But we'll talk about the second banner. Why I'm going to hit the second banner, you might not want to. But first, let's talk about Finn. Okay? Now, Finn has got a really, really boss. Is that, I forget, is that Dex or Endurance? I think that's Endurance that he's got 633. I can't remember which one's which now. That's what I get for not reading Japanese. Either way, the skills do something very, very similar for each one. Just slight differences in them. So his assist skill. At max limit break, is allies, SA gauge charge 33%, strength, magic, agility, and endurance, and dex, minus 10%. So basically, he's the Chigusa we got for the Goblin Slayer event, minus the slow, with a 33% SA gauge charge to all allies. Remember, I always use Casino Seer when I do a run. He replaces Casino Seer. Or does he? Let's think about this for a moment. You put him on the front line. He's buffing all of those stats. Whereas Chigusa debuffs those stats. He's buffing all those stats, and he's giving 33% SA gauge charge. By the end of a run, that's going to work way better. Because if you bring him in at the end of the turn, you've got 4 units that are doing that. That's 133% more SA gauge charge. Every 3 turns, he's adding an extra SA gauge charge, basically equivalent to 1 attack, per 3 turns-ish. 3 turns. Let's just say 3 turns for the sake of argument. It's close enough for government work. So, that is absolutely awesome. Awesome. Now, hear me out. Put him on your front line. I don't know how you do it, but you'd be able to do it. 33% SA gauge charge to 3 units in the front. Bring in... and again, you're talking about wasting 2... I say wasting, but you're talking about just doubling down just on SA. You're going to be lacking some things, but you got to be really, really confident about your team to do this. But you could technically still bring Casino Seer in on your last unit for sack everybody else, bring in your last unit, and then do 133%. Now, he's not going to affect that unit. Remember, he's only going to affect units in the front. But if you bring him in last, if you don't have Casino Seer, he's going to be even better than her. Even better. And I'm even going to say a fool would still use Casino Seer, and I'm that fool. I would play around with that meta by a huge margin. But he replaces her. He completely makes her technically irrelevant in the game. Like I said, you'd have to be a fool to fart around with that other method. I am. But if you do not have Casino Seer, you need him. Now, I will say, if you do not max limit break him, that is going to take him back down. He's at level 60 and above. He's going to be SA gauge charge, probably about 22%, maybe as much as 25%, but I'm going to guess 22%. Strength, agility, magic, and dex will be about 8%. So you want to max limit break this unit. I tell you all the time, if you're going to chase an assist, you need to chase that assist to max limit break. You must. Must. But every single person watching this video needs this unit. I promise you. Take my word for it, this unit will not be made irrelevant until there's another unit that does either a bigger SA gauge charge or has a better side buff on his SA gauge charge. Her SA gauge charge. Whoever's SA gauge charge. You see how much I use Casino Seer. Like, every team has her. Every team has her. This is going to be huge for you guys in 7th Zone. Those of you guys that tell me you can't beat 7th Zone, or you can't beat the EX bosses, which I think are going to become a regular thing in the game, I kind of hope so. I really like them. This is your chance, guys. And girls. And whatever. Pay close attention. This banner. This is without question or doubt the banner you want to hit. No questions asked. Now, let's talk about the other banner, because I'm going to be hitting this banner. But I'm going to tell you probably don't need to, and I'll explain why. First of all, let's talk about Arty, because I really like Arty. And I did say that I thought Arty would replace Daphne. I'll get the name right this time, I swear to God. They come as a pair. It's hard, guys. God, cut me some slack. They never are apart. It's not like it's Cassandra and Daphne. It's always Cassandra and Daphne. To see them apart is just unnatural. Anyway, I digress. Arty. Skill 1. Allies. Fast allies. Physical resist, magic resist. Yeah, physical resist and magic resist plus 30%. Sorry, it's written a little weirdly. 35% HP regen for 4 turns. Prevents KO only once when HP is... It says 1% or above? Is that 1% or is that 10%? What? That's pretty crazy. Won't lie, that's pretty nuts. That is going to be pretty good for Wargame. I think she's going to work right alongside Daphne in some very good circumstances. I think I said yesterday she'd replace her, but I ponder this, that I don't know if that's true. But she will definitely be relevant in Wargame, I believe. I will be going hard on this banner. Skill 2 is an allies. 30% heal. Foes, physical resist and magic resist, minus 30%, critical rate, penetration rate, minus 40% for 2 turns. So, lots of healing, lots of debuffing. That's what she's all about. Skill 3 is a foe, singular. Super water physical attack with ultra critical rate removes all strength and magic buffs except assist skills. That's going to be handy in Wrecker Buster, but mark my words, I don't think she's going to be good for Wrecker Buster. I really feel like she's going to shine when it comes to Wargame, and especially in like stall teams. Stall teams, she's going to be a big part of that, and I've never really built a stall team, like not a good one, and it's kind of one of those things I've wanted to fart around with, so that's what I'm going for. That's why I'm going after Arty. Now, this is not a unit you want to chase unless you really have been playing the game for a long time and you're ready to start farting around with that kind of stuff. It's more of, I won't say an advanced skill, because I still think stall teams are kind of cheap and not very sportsmanlike, but that's how you get to Hero 3. Got to pay to play. Notable passives are Strength, Endurance, and Dex plus 25%, 35% damage reduction on guard, Fire Resistance plus 35%, HP and MP plus 5%, regen every turn. Special Arts, Allies, Agility and Dex plus 40%, 50% HP regen for 4 turns, prevents KO times 1 when HP is 1%, removes when less than 1%. That's weird that replicated from skill 1. We'll have to see how that drops. I really think that's going to be 10% on skill 1. Seeing it 1% is weird. I think that's a mistranslation. I think it's going to be 10%. I don't know. We'll see. I've said that before, and it's actually turned out to be real. But either way, the rest of it is still awesome. She'll be a stall unit for absolute certain. She's going to be really interesting. Let's talk about Gareth. Because Gareth... Man, this guy. So, first of all, stats. Awesome stats. Really awesome stats. Look at that MP. Digest that MP. Let's talk about this. Skill 1. Allies. Fast. Buff earth damage 50% for 5 turns for the next 3 actions. 3 actions. Not 2 like before. 3 actions. An additional effect is 75% chance to null a physical attack on all allies. All your allies basically get a 75% chance to nullify a physical attack for 3 turns. 3 turns. We talked about this last night for quite a while as to how good this is. I think it's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Except, as we discussed it last night, the MP cost. Now, initially, we thought the MP cost was going to be 240. Apparently, the MP cost is now 187. Hold up. Look at the MP number. He comes at 374. Now, obviously, you're going to buff that with CP and with assists and all that. 187 MP cost. Now, if I'm fair, I'm looking at Record Buster for this. And I'm looking at how busted that's going to be for Record Buster. Because the ability to just nullify incoming attacks. You use him with the Chloe we got a while back, and basically no one's ever taking damage. There's lots of ways to nullify attacks, and I really feel like one of the keys to Hero 3 going forward is going to be the team that just walks onto the field and just, we're taking no damage today. That's going to be basically the going, like, stupid, annoying, piss everybody off, but hey, that is what it is. There's still ways to counter that, but the 187 MP cost means that he is basically at 2 hits in him unless you give him a bunch of MP regen. There's ways to do it. But you're still not getting off more than 3, maybe tops 4 attacks before he just runs out of steam. So you gotta hope upon hope that you are able to crush your opponents before that happens. Very interesting unit. I look forward to playing with him. I will be going after him very, very, very hard. But if I'm entirely honest, I don't think this is a tactic that is worth most people's time. Because this is basically, you are investing now in something that's really just designed to stall your opponent. That is it. And in most events going forward, it's not going to be that important. We're talking about specifically just an event like Wargame, where you are just trying to nullify. And even in Familia Wargame, it's not very good. Because remember, in Familia Wargame, your goal is to kill your opponent fast to get the most badges. If you go past 4 turns, you lose badges. So he's not good for Familia Wargame. He's just only, maybe, possibly, potentially, if you have the right assist, good for Wargame. That is it. So while I'm going ham on him, and I'm really interested to see how he works, and I really think he's going to be important to the Hero 3 grind going forward, most of you guys should be sated just getting to King 1 and being happy with those other 3 units. Okay? Skill 2 is a foes, plural, super earth physical attack with temporary strength boost and ultra on guard. Allies removes all strength and magic debuffs except assist skills. So once again, he will come in basically turn 2, remove all those debuffs. Dude's pretty awesome, honestly. He's awesome, but man, that first skill's MP cost is going to crush you if you're not careful. Skill 3 is a foe singular high earth physical attack with ultra penetration rate. For every strength buff on self, skill damage plus 50%. Okay? Notable passives. Earth element counters, thunder resist plus 35%, strength, endurance, agility, and dex plus 25%, physical resist, magic resist plus 20%, and penetration damage, and of course 15%, and of course he's a worm killer. Okay? SA, which you'll never use, is Ultra Earth physical attack with temporary strength boost, Ultra on guard rate, allies, physical resist, magic resist, plus 50%. You're going to have to be in a pretty desperate situation to do that. It's not going to be something you can do every day. Ever. Really, if I'm honest. Basically, skill 1 and skill 2 are the best things he does. Beyond that, meh. Let us talk about Estrella. Because Estrella is interesting. I like Estrella a lot, but once again, it is one of those things that is going to be very specialized, okay? Assist effect, allies, 30% HP regen, no 1 physical attack and 1 magic attack except for SAs. Now, we had a big discussion last night about how effective this is going to be. And with 30% HP regen, I think she's going to be really, really, really important to the stall teams in Wargame, very specifically going forward. Hear me out. You know 1 physical attack and 1 magic attack. Will she still work with Chloe? I don't see why not if, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put all the cards out there. I'm going to spoil it for the people that have already put this together. Congratulations, folks. It is now in a video, and people know exactly what we're all thinking because we are cheap, sorry SOBs. You put her on the front line, okay? Allies 30% HP regen. Everyone that's up there gets an HP regen at the end of a turn. You have somebody up there that literally is just there to die. They are your sacrificial lamb. Might even be Gareth, just to get that one attack off. Then they croak. In comes they sack. Here comes your next unit with Chloe attached. Now, if you haven't used your null physical attack, congratulations, you just lost it. Chloe now does 2. Remember, the biggest skill will override the previous skill. So you won't have 3 physical attack nulls. You'll have now 2 physical attack nulls. If you use your physical attack null, she'll slide in. She should still give you 2 physical attack nulls. So you could potentially have 3, or it could just be a wasted slot. Either way, you get 30% HP regen, which will not affect the new incoming unit, and you'll still have the magic. Those of you that are looking to build stall teams, have fun with it. But I just busted a hole wide open in your plans. Not that very many people can do much about it, but it is a thing. Though if you are free to play and you're still watching at this point, I will warn you, this is not the game for a free-to-play player. This is the game for someone who's incredibly stupid, has a lot of expendable iras, and really, really, really desperately just wants to make, Hero 3 because, well, reasons. That's the only reason you'd want to, is because of reasons. And you're talking now, if you're really at that state of the game, and I'm going to just put all the cards out there on the table. If you're really at that state of the game, here's what you're talking. You're saying, okay, cool. I am now ready to EOL my game. I'm ready to max all my CP so I can be that person that does all this stuff. Because you're now at that state, everything going forward is just relying on drops and all this stuff. Maybe new units, maybe new CP, but you're not going to get that much forward. You're basically at that point in the game where you're like, cool, I am now a whale. That is it. That's why I say this is not a game for free-to-play players. This is a banner for whales. This is a banner for my free-to-play folks that want to continue working well and have fun and play the game. Hit that King 1 wall and walk away ecstatic with their, 600 Iris, I think. Still a great reward. That's a great reward. Plus, I really think she's going to be your key to getting top 500 easily in Record Buster, because not a lot of people are going to know how to use her right. So, once again, self-promotion. Hit that notification icon. Hit that subscribe bell. Stay up to date. We'll talk about Record Busters. I know we didn't talk about the last one. I'm sorry. But we'll talk about Record Busters going forward and how you need to use her, because I think she's going to be really important. Let's look at some animations, because we've got the SA animations. We'll close it out with this. Here we go. Turn this down a little bit. This is, of course, Gareth. Pretty funny animation, if I'm honest. Here's Riveria. Now, don't pay attention to the numbers. The numbers are probably not representative of max limit broken units. Literally, this is just tests. Looks pretty good, though. It's a good-looking SA. It's a terrifying-looking SA. It looks more like an AoE SA, though, if I'm honest, but whatevs. Arty! Alright. Now, this is Ryu and Alice. I noticed they don't have a combo attack? Maybe these two have a combo. Man, that's beautiful. That's a good looking SA right there. Combo attack. Alright. There we go. They have a special combo. Awesome. I wonder if every Ryu will work with that combo. Interesting. Did the previous units not have a combo? Let's double check this. Or was I just not paying attention? Alright, so there's attack 3. Oh, come on, you. It's not going to go forward, is it? It doesn't want to play nice. Alright, we'll have to watch all the way through again. I can't get enough of the essays. The essays look beautiful. God, look at that. That is just disgusting. It looks like an AoE, though. It really looks like an AoE to me. But it is single target. Don't let that confuse you. And what you got, girl? Should have formed Voltron, apparently. Or just do some fireworks. Yeah, no combo with them. Interesting. So anyway, guys, that is going to be the video. Let me know what y'all thought in the comments section down below, and I will recap once again. If you're free to play, your 4,000 Iris is really, really useful here. If you are a whale, go ahead and hit this, but you already know you were going to anyway. Free-to-play peeps, leave that one alone. Drop your 4,000 Iris here. Walk away. We're probably going to get better units, more units. We've got 2 more parts after this, so save, save, save. 4,000 Iris is as deep as you're going to go on this one. Repeat after me. 4,000 Iris is as deep as I'm going to go, only on this banner. If you're free-to-play, you're a fool to hit the other banner. As good as it is, you're a fool. Great wargame unit. Great Record Buster unit. Great assist all around you're going to use on every single event. That's the video, guys. Hit that old thumbs up button. Let me know what y'all thought in the comments section down below. Blast this out on social media. I will catch you guys on the next one.